This week, we want to talk to you all about the sensation that has taken India by storm, the IPL. Since 2008, April and May are the 2 months when most Indians refuse to leave their homes to socialize with real people because they're too busy glued to their television screens watching the Indian Premier League.
So stay tuned to hear why my new nickname is Mummy Chapal, and you might also be just as shocked as I was to hear that Ankita is a true Indian cricket fan and apparently she bleeds blue. So without further ado, let's jump right into the show.
So, Meenal, before we start, I want to play something for you.
Okay, go on. Oh, wow, Ankita, that's just literally the most annoying sound you could have ever played for me. Well, it's a sound that I'm sure a lot of people in India and possibly around the world are aware of. It's IPL season now. So, Ankita, when you were in India and IPL has started for the first time, do you remember how it started off and how it kicked off?
Oh, yeah. As a matter of fact, I do because it was widely commercialized. And all are, Bollywood celebrities. And by all, I mean the big stars like Shah Rukh Khan and Preeti Zinta were bidding on these teams, creating promos and theme songs and making special appearances on these music videos and, literally promoting their teams the way they promoted their movies. And truthfully, someone like me would not have paid attention had it not been for all that hype. I mean, the only reason why I know about the IPL is itself because of how it took up every Indian's television on every single channel, be it MTV or your local soap drama channel on TV. The IPL was everywhere.
So, Ankita, I guess then you knew everything you had to know about this craze in India right from the time it began then.
Well, I knew that players from all over the world came together to play in these mixed teams, and that there's this bidding process that determines which player goes where and which celebrity backs which team, and then the teams all have the names of the various states in India that they represent, and they all play against each other till there's a final winner. I think this is what it's all about. And if my understanding is correct, there are these just 20 overs because these are short games.
Okay, Ankita, how many balls in an over?
6.
Okay,
is that right?
That's good.
Okay. So I know that because I watch cricket. So I know that these are short games with just 20 overs, but that's about all I know about this craze, as you put it. But Meenal, okay, now you're the one who's into sports, and cricket is a sport.
Oh, thanks.
And
Thanks
just
for
so our
informing me.
listeners know, and this is just so our listeners know.
Let me just make a note of that.
As I was saying, Meenal not only plays her sports, but she's also managing Time Chore, which is a website that deals with current affairs and all these things. And timechore.in is where all her writers routinely update facts and stats about the IPL. At least for the past week and a half, that's what Time Chore has been mainly doing. And I'm sure that although you were not in India when the IPL started back in 2008, you probably have greater insights than I do or I did at the time. So I need you to correct me. I have a feeling that I made a few blunders when I told you what the IPL was about.
I don't think so, Ankita. I mean, okay, let's just start with off the first thing. So, do you know what IPL stands for?
Yeah, Indian Premier League. I'm not
Hey.
I'm not living under a rock.
Well, Ankita, I think everything you said was very factually correct, most of it at least. And I think that the IPL, you mentioned how there's a bidding process and there's an auction and all of these things, and all that's fine. But I think that a lot of the hype around the IPL is to do with the fact that you're seeing players play together who never usually do. Like the big players from different countries in one team. It's like a super team. It's really exciting to watch. And obviously, I think that the IPL mainly works because of the advertising.
Yeah.
I mean, I enjoy watching cricket. It's not that I don't enjoy watching a game, but the IPL is you just hear different branding and different names of companies.
It's like an advertising vomit all over your television screen.
Yeah, it's like if someone hits a 6, they will say, "Oh, that's a Pepsi 6," or "That's a Nokia," and it just ruins a whole game of
it's
cricket.
Too commercialized, is what you're saying.
It's very commercialized, and I think as well, like if you watch an IPL game, you'll see that there are also cheerleaders. I've heard that the performance of these cheerleaders is very, very subpar.
Right.
I've never seen them before,
Right.
so it's not something you'd see like in the Super Bowl or in these basketball games.
Yeah.
But so you have the cheerleaders, and then obviously you will see that the cameras are mostly rolling towards these celebrities. Like if Preeti Zinta comes and watches a game, the camera will be on her face for at least 50% of the time.
Yeah.
And I think that IPL is also another big hype in India, because I think most of the players actually perform probably their best during this time, and this is what people enjoy the most. And girls love drooling over Virat Kohli.
I mean, tell me something I didn't know.
Yeah, boys love drooling over Preeti Zinta. So it's more of that, I feel, rather than the actual cricket. Actually, Ankita, speaking of Kohli, a couple of years back, I was in Southampton during a test match, and it was an England versus India test cricket game.
Right.
And
I don't know what a test match is.
test match is the 5-day cricket game.
Oh, okay.
So, and I shouted to Coolie, and I said, Coolie, like, I want an autograph. And he looked at me and he just ignored me and carried on. So I think
Was that the first time a guy ignored you?
That's the many times.
Were you trying to make a friend?
But Ankita, I remember when I told you about the IPL, when it had, I mean, obviously with Time Tour, IPL, for me, the IPL started a month ago, because obviously all my projects and everything had to kick off then to be prepared for now. So if I hadn't told you about my IPL work on Time Tour, would you have even realized that the IPL had started in India?
Actually, honestly, no, because I don't care for it, so I don't really follow what's happening in the IPL world, and B, I feel that at least the people on my social media feed are not as enthusiastic about it as they used to be, say, 9 years ago. I remember a time when my timeline was just flooded with running commentary by self-proclaimed commentators, but nowadays the only IPL updates I see are from Time Tour. Nothing else.
Really?
People are not talking about it anymore.
Well, maybe people are talking about it, but maybe not in sort of people in your vicinity. I think that generally I also feel that there's been a lost interest in the IPL, and I also feel that, you know, my friends and my friend circle, I remember a couple of years ago when I just came to university, every single day some of my classmates were just watching IPL and not studying.
Meenal, I think that's not a general loss of interest, actually. I think, see, otherwise your Time Tour post wouldn't be getting close to 10,000 likes in 2 hours. I've never seen anything like it. Like, I've never seen anything blow up so much.
Maybe it's because we are also growing up and we're also, you know, moving towards.
I think, like what you said, I think it's it's more of a generational thing than anything else, because you know, ours was literally the generation that welcomed the IPL, and when we did, we all just went bonkers over it, and we were mostly students at the time, and you know, we had a lot of free time to give it our undivided attention. Then I think life just got in the way for most of the cricket enthusiasts that I used to know, and they're all probably, you know, inching their way towards 30 like me, with full-time jobs, and some even with families to take care of. So, you know, where's the time to stay up all night watching a cricket game and sending out live tweets when you have to wake up at 6 in the morning to commute to work?
Well, Ankita, I mean, people do sacrifice a lot of their time and energy just for the IPL and just for cricket. I think that a lot of people see it as a once in a year sort of event, so they wouldn't want to miss it, right?
That's true, but I think what we are not, okay, at least in my case, because I said that in my social media feeds, I don't see anything about the IPL anymore because people from my generation have just moved on. And, you know, at least in a small way, I feel that they've taken a step back and handed over the live tweeting responsibilities to our younger generation. You know, kids who have, they only have to worry about, they only have time and they don't have to worry about anything.
And actually, Ankita, not just time, but also more access to the internet in general. Imagine 9 years ago.
Yeah.
You would have to sit in front of your computer to tweet or to get an update or turn on your radio. But now everything is on our fingertips. So everything's a lot easier to access these days.
So I think it's mostly to do with, you know, the generational aspect of it, and the youngsters, as in, you know, students mostly are the one who engage. And I think that's how it has been for a long time. I think that's the demographic that engages with the IPL related content everywhere these days.
But Ankita, I personally think that the IPL in general, because just a couple of minutes ago I was mentioning
Yeah.
how the advertising has taken over, and it's not so much about it doesn't really reflect the true meaning of the gentleman's game, you know? That's what they say cricket is.
Yeah.
And for at least from my perspective, and it all comes about just because of the money. And I understand that most players want to play in good spirit, but money, I feel, has sort of contaminated the beauty of the game and the hype of the game as well.
Oh, you
Especially
have.
about
I believe you've never had the opportunity to sit in an Indian home and watch it on Indian television, right?
not in India exactly. I mean, I've
Yeah.
watched it with my dad, like, but in Europe, not
Yeah,
in
I mean,
India.
I don't know if it's the same everywhere how they distribute it, but what I remember from watching the IPL live at my home is that it's even worse with the advertising and
Really?
yeah,
Oh, is it because of the breaks in
the
between?
breaks in between, like every single like minute they get or 30 seconds they get or even 5 seconds they show an ad. So yeah.
Well, Ankita, I mean, apart from all this, these things that we're talking about, like money and sponsors and things that are not so enticing about this big event of the IPL, I think that the IPL also has its own inspirational stories. I don't know if you've heard about the Afghani cricket players who made it to the IPL. And there's one cricket player called Rashid Khan, and he's only 18 years old,
Oh,
from Afghanistan.
I haven't been
And
following it,
yeah,
sorry.
but well, I'm telling you.
Okay.
It's story time.
I'll shut up and listen now. It's not all about me.
So Rashid Khan is an 18-year-old Afghani bowler,
Yeah.
and in his first IPL match, he played amazingly. And you imagine young kids in Afghanistan watching this and thinking, that could be me one day. And
Yeah.
just like I think a couple of weeks ago in our brain dump, I think it was our March brain dump where I mentioned when I went to Germany and I met these Afghani kids, and they were saying that one day I want to be in the IPL, one day I want to be playing. So there are a lot of inspirational stories behind the IPL, and it is also a good opportunity for people to come up and step up their game. I mean, I won't go into all the details, but there are some kids who used to play like tennis ball cricket. There are some kids whose fathers were rickshaw drivers or coal mine workers, and now they're making crores.
No. Let's just go back to the whole tennis ball cricket thing. What the
Okay.
what?
You
What
don't know
is
tennis
that?
ball cricket?
No.
Okay, I don't know the full details of it. Okay,
Right.
so I might be wrong here, but so tennis ball cricket is obviously cricket that's played with the tennis ball, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think in some parts of India, they also have a league just for tennis ball cricket.
I've seen it, the green ball. Okay.
Yes, Ankita, the tennis ball is green. Oh my goodness.
No. I've seen people playing. Okay,
Okay,
so
yeah.
that's it. It's not like playing cricket with a tennis racket or
No,
anything.
it's very different. No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
So, people started off there and now they're at the IPL. So it is a good way to encourage people. And obviously sports, like they say that in the when the Olympics are shown on TV, when big events are shown on TV, kids are more likely
Inclined
to sign up to
yeah.
their local clubs and their local sports clubs. So the IPL, I hope, would be another event where kids would say, okay, I can actually make it if I work hard enough.
Well, I'm sure that Indian kids don't need that push because all they grow up talking about and seeing on television is cricket. But what you make, you make a really good point. And, I know that you're doing all this research on the IPL these days, and I get to see firsthand how much of your heart and soul goes into all of this work. By the way, guys, Meenal has an exam on Thursday, which is the day on which we release this episode.
Oh my God.
She's probably giving her exam as you're listening to this. So I hope that went well, future Meenal.
Please not talk about that, please. This recording time is not for exam time, please.
So as I was saying, you've really been staying on top of your game with this whole IPL business. But in a country like Gibraltar, where you grew up, was cricket even a thing? I mean, did you ever have any interest in this game, despite how your Indian roots would make you want to sacrifice innocent puppies for it?
Well, anyone who's born in an Indian family, by default, we're Indian cricket fans.
Yeah.
It's a default thing.
Yeah.
But it's a very good question, because in Gibraltar, Ankita, it's a tiny country, and the best thing about Gibraltar is that it's very multicultural. So in our episode where we spoke to Isha, we did mention that we were very lucky that things were very close by to us,
Yeah.
I didn't have to travel on a tube or get a bus to go to the local ground to play cricket. I could just walk there.
Right.
So everything was very easily accessible. And because I watched so much on TV and because I had an older brother,
Yeah.
I always used to follow him. Like, I used to follow him around. And this is actually quite funny because there was one day where my brother took me to play cricket with his friends.
Yeah.
And I couldn't find my shoes. And I was desperate to go with him. So I wore my mom's chapal.
Oh my god. Oh my god. There are so many things wrong with this story because I can't understand why a kid can't find her shoes. I mean,
No, because
I find it so disturbing.
Okay, the real story is that I could find my shoes, but the only ones I could find with the shoes that light up at the bottom.
Right.
Like as soon as you make
Oh
a
my
step, the
God.
shoes light. I can't play cricket with that, can I, Ankita? Because I wore my mom's chapal to the cricket ground.
Yeah.
My nickname from that day was Mummy Chapal. So I was called Mummy Chapal for a good 6-7 years of my life.
I think I like that. I'm gonna call you Mummy Chapal. You know what it reminds me of, this Mummy Chapal thing? You know how Indian mothers have the tendency to throw their chapal at their kids? It's a very Indian thing.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were born in India in the 90s, then chances are your mom threw her chapal at you.
Just like you're an Indian fan by default.
Yeah.
By default, you would also get chapal thrown
You
at
mean
you.
Indian cricket fan?
Yeah, Indian cricket fan, yeah.
Okay.
So I was called Mummy Chapal for a good 6-7 years of my life. And obviously I was the only girl who played amongst my brother and his friends, right? And they were always very welcoming and they always gave me a chance to bat and bowl. And that's how I learned how to play. There was no cricket team. There was no cricket club.
Right.
It only came in a bit later, maybe in my early teenage years. And that's when I started playing. And that's when I think cricket actually made me really competitive because as an Indian, I thought I had to be the best. Like, you're an Indian, you have to be good at cricket.
Yeah.
So every summer I played and I was the only girl who played. So they would put me in the men's teams, in the boys' teams, and I would play with them.
Right.
So when I actually left for my studies to come to Prague to do medicine, that's when they actually started working on building a girls' team, and then they had a girls' team. Yeah, so I was very happy, but I was also a bit like, couldn't you have done that like 5 years ago?
But I feel like it's all come full circle now because when you went to Germany in March to play indoor cricket, you were still the only girl there.
I know, right? It's the story of my life.
Yeah.
I'm the only girl everywhere I go.
But when you decided to do an episode on the IPL, because
I didn't decide to do an episode of the IPL.
I meant
We decided.
we decided to do an episode on the IPL because you were working on it so much. But we decided to do it because that's the most Indian thing happening right now in a global sense, because there are so many international players coming and playing with, playing in India. There's this one question that immediately popped up in my brain, and I've been waiting for this episode to ask you that. So when you were growing up in Gibraltar with your deep, deep Indian roots, were you even aware in 2008 that there's this thing called the IPL and the whole nation was glued to the television in the months of April and May? Like, were you even aware?
Well, this was 9 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So I was about 15 years old.
Yeah.
I don't think so, Ankita. Honestly, I really don't think so. I always watched cricket with my dad on TV, like the one-day internationals and like sometimes the test cricket, because my dad, it was like bonding time for both of us.
Right.
So I knew a lot about cricket in general, but I didn't have an idea of the IPL, and that's probably because I wasn't exposed to what you were exposed to in India, like the hype and the build-up to it and the adverts on TV. Like I wasn't exposed to any of that.
You see, I love this about this episode, Meenal, because with our podcast, we always talk about how we're two Indian girls living in Europe, discussing culture and society from an outsider's perspective or an outsider's lens, and we're discussing Indian culture and society. But I believe what makes it interesting for people to listen to us is the fact that we're two completely different people, not just in terms of our individual personalities, but also in terms of our upbringing. And this episode has done the best job of summarizing how we're both reacting to the IPL in completely different ways.
Yeah, well, you were in India when it started and you did pay attention to it at the time. And whereas on the other hand, I didn't really know about it. I wasn't aware.
Yeah.
And now I'm the one paying close attention to the IPL and you wouldn't have even known it that it would have started if it wasn't for me.
Yeah, if you hadn't told me. And to add to that, there's something I didn't mention so far, which is the fact that I actually love cricket, while
Oh,
you
shut up,
really
Ankita.
don't. I'm a
Don't.
true Desi. I
No.
have the whole cricket mania thing flowing through my
Oh, shut up,
veins.
Ankita. This is a joke.
No, I would totally
Wait, Ankita, are
sacrifice
you actually being
kittens.
serious? You're not being
Yeah,
serious.
I am.
No.
I
Really?
am. I would totally sacrifice kittens in a field of heather if that means that we'll win the World Cup.
Oh, shut up, Ankita. That's a joke.
You bleed blue.
Did you Google like what do Indian fans say, and then you found
No,
bleed blue?
I've been saying that from the time I understood what the World Cup was. I mean, I think most people will have a hard time believing this because it's just the IPL that doesn't interest me. But the rest of cricket is something I enjoy following. But, I'm not crazy for it. I don't do the whole staying up at night live tweeting thing. All I do is keep track of it when I have the time, and I really don't mind spending an evening or two watching the game, with my
No.
family.
Are you serious?
I watch entire games with my mom, and actually, it started with my mom who. Okay, you know what? I have to go
So,
back and
Ankita,
say
I
that.
have a feeling that once we stop this recording, you're just gonna say, "Oh, actually, Meenal, I just said that because I felt a bit left out about the IPL because you knew more than me."
Or I'll stop this recording and say April Fools. It's not an April Fool's prank or anything of that. It started with my mom, who, she. So remember I said that I would sacrifice kitten in a field of heather. Actually, my mom would be the one who did that, who would do
Really?
that for cricket because, oh, she totally would. She watches the game on her own most of the time because she's always shown more interest than my dad, which is something you don't hear of in a regular Indian home. And when I was really young and living in Delhi, one of our neighbors wrote a fictional Hindi essay in his board exams portraying my mom as his neighbor who broke the TV screen when India lost a match. Like I said, this essay was completely fictional. My mom never broke a TV screen for cricket, but
is that the impression your mom gave to this
yeah,
poor
like
boy?
this boy was my mom's friend's son, and he was writing his 10th standard board exam, so he was like 15. And she and this boy, they would discuss cricket with such passion that he actually wrote an entire board exam essay about my mom.
Wow. Well, Ankita, that to be fair, we know that people in India would probably kick their TV screen if Dhoni or Kohli don't hit their runs. Or I mean, we've even seen on social media if you just make one Kohli joke,
Yeah.
how the whole world of Twitter just explodes on you.
Yeah.
I
Actually,
think
with Time Chore, we both know and follow the Twitter handle of Alt Cricket, and it was recently suspended because of a Kohli joke.
Mm-hmm.
And it's been some time, hasn't it?
Yeah, and poor guy had like 96k followers or almost hitting 100k.
Yeah.
And that was suspended because of a Kohli joke.
Yeah.
So I think one specific scenario I remember, Ankita, was that when it was a World Cup final, and this is when Saurav Ganguly was playing, and it's not like I had a crush on him, but it was a kind of crush where you see an older man and you just have like an immense amount of respect for him.
Yeah.
So it was that kind of like fangirl sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was like a fangirl sort of thing that I had for him. And my mom also really liked Saurav Ganguly because I think we watched a couple of his interviews on TV.
Right.
And we just really liked the way he spoke and the way he portrayed himself.
Oh, I really liked how he would just remove his t-shirt and start waving it.
That's exactly the day I'm talking about. So it was IPL, it was a
World Cup
final, and we had just come back, like as a family, we'd just come back from a beach outing.
Right.
And because my mom is really OCD with cleaning, she's like, all of you have to get in the shower, and clean yourselves, and then then we can do anything. But it was like the last couple of balls of the over.
Yeah.
And I think, India probably just had to hit a couple of boundaries. I can't remember.
Okay.
But I remember I was glued in front of the TV and I was going, come on, Ganguly. But Ganguly wasn't even playing. He was on the stands.
Oh my God.
So it was such a fangirl thing. And I was rooting for India only because my brother and my dad were.
Right.
But I obviously had no idea what I was doing because my brother was going, go Ganguly, go India. And I was like, yeah, let's go Ganguly, go India.
Saurav Ganguly was India for you.
He was literally India for me. And I still remember, like, when he took his top off
Yeah.
and he celebrated the win. So I understand why someone would write an essay about your mom breaking a TV screen, because that's how passionate we are. And
Yeah.
I wasn't even a cricket fan, and I was still so passionate only
Yeah.
because people around me were.
No, I was allowed to stay up till I think midnight at one point, even when I had exams, because we were watching the World Cup. Like my mom and I
Oh,
were watching.
really?
She let me stay up like that because the World Cup was more important than my exams.
Oh
My
my
mom is a
goodness.
hardcore fan. Because of her, I was actually at one point a few of my cousins, like girls, they went out and got a cricket bat because my mom would watch cricket with them, and we all decided to start playing cricket, and my mom and my female cousins would just start playing cricket because
Really?
yeah, because my mom was like,
I'm sorry, I've said really so many times because you
it's
just
hard to
throwing
believe.
truth bomb after truth bomb.
Yeah, so that was a very fun little chat on the IPL and India's obsession with cricket, and we hope that you enjoyed listening to us as much as we did, just talking to each other and sharing these stories.
If you enjoyed our stories and if you enjoyed our podcast, don't forget to subscribe to us on SoundCloud, iTunes, YouTube, Stitcher, or whichever app you use to listen to us. And if you're on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, or Twitter, we are too. So just follow us on @the_Desi_Outsiders.
And we'll be back next week with another episode. And until then, I'm Ankita.
And I'm Meenal.
And we are the Desi Outsiders. This week, we want to talk to you all about the sensation that has taken India by storm. Okay, from the beginning. Okay. My mom. Why did I even say that?
Oh my god. Okay.